Check out thechosenprime.com in the link in the description below for this and other great items.
Alright, welcome everyone to another Radio Free Cybertron review. I'm your host, Diecast, and today we have Voodoo Courage Potion, which is also Animus Stealth Mode. Here you have all three, Salus, which is their not Ratchet, Animus, which is their not Ironhide, and Animus Stealth Mode, which is their not Diaclone Ironhide, I guess. I don't know if the Diaclone actually had a name, but that's what it is. You can see the front of the packaging. This is a very, very small package. Have Animus Stealth Mode on the front there, some stuff on the bottom, then some stuff on the back. Warning, choking hazard, because this has probably the smallest parts I've ever seen in my life, but we'll get into that. And here's some of the transformation mode, and then on this other side you have another picture in vehicle and robot mode. So I like also on this packaging how small it is. I think that saves third parties from having to increase the price on this. This was $125 at TFCon Charlotte, which was one of the exclusives there. The regular versions, I think, are going to be $120 from retailers. It does come in this clamshell packaging, and he also comes with some weapons, which I haven't even taken out of the packaging yet. This one I did because they were in the package with these little sprues, and I only have one left, just because I wanted to show you guys how I was doing it, but I couldn't record every one I was doing. There would be way too much cursing and everything else in the video, so that had to get cut out. But we'll try and do this one just to give you an idea, and you can see here all the ones I already did, and they are very, very tiny. There's 4 right here, there's 2 on the door panel, 2 on this back quarter panel, 1 up top on the roof, 2 on this clear window on the roof, and then the same thing on the side. And you can see I still have that 1 to do. They did leave some out because there are a couple holes. There's a hole right there that doesn't have a cap, and there's 2 other holes on the top here that don't have a cap. I don't know if that's because they couldn't do it or whatever, but like I said, we'll get into that. Here is the card. It is like a more of a cardboard style as opposed to a credit card style, but the card still is, you know, pretty nice. Not as nice as some of the other third-party cards that we get, but again, it's a card, so I don't really care. And then also you have your instructions, which look small until you get through the instructions that tell you where those little filler pieces go, because that's pretty small. You can see that on my hand right there. Not very big at all. And then the numbers are on the back of these sprues. I don't know if you're even going to be able to see it. Let me try and zoom in real quick. Like I said, I don't know. There you go. So that is number 6. And that's one of the better looking numbers. Some of them were very unrecognizable. So if you want to do this, I do caution you how frustrating this may be. At least it was for me. So I have a pair of nippers, as people like to call them. Just gonna nip that piece off as close as I can to the filler piece. And then you can see here, I'll try and zoom in again. It still leaves a little bit that you have to trim down. My method for trimming has just been a pocket knife, and you can see the black plastic on the pocket knife from me already trimming up all the other ones. And the reason I'm using a pocket knife is just because it gives me a little bit more room to work. And this is the first one I'm doing in front of a camera. So I know someone's going to be like, you're not holding the knife right. Well, you know, I've done all of those so far and I haven't hurt myself yet. So I don't plan to on this last one. And then also while we're trying to do this little minute trim, you don't have to do this. It's totally optional. If you're cool with the holes, and or if you're transforming, if you're leaving him in robot mode, you're probably not even going to notice. So I wish Voodoo would have had a better way to design this figure so you didn't have to do this. I mean, I don't know if there was a better way, but if this was the only way, I'll forgive him for that. And I think I got that trimmed up enough that we can slide that in. So, see that hole right there? And these are, you know, there is a correct angle that they go in because the pieces are slanted, and then you just push it in. So that's the last one I had to do. Gives you an idea how it looks right there. This one on the back right here is probably the hardest to put in. I don't know that I put that in the right orientation, but I don't know if I can get it out either. So it's better than the hole that it was. So that is all the panels in. Now, one thing I did have, there we go. I had a little bit of trouble with that front bumper locking in, but it just seemed to lock in for me now. And then when I transformed it again, this panel really bothered me how there was a gap here. And I thought I was transforming it wrong, but it still rolls. It still does everything it needs to do. So it looks like that is the proper transformation that I have it in. So let's go ahead and get into, well, we'll talk about his vehicle mode first. It is really compact. Here is an RID Bumblebee, just for comparison. They're about the same size, roughly. So let's go ahead and just take a look around the top. These clear, smoky panels came out really nice. The yellow paint on this probably could have been a tad darker. You can kind of see the black bleeding through on the back. But not bad. You know, overall, I think it looks good. And I think Ratchet is a very hard figure to do, especially with what we've seen from Takara. It just proves that Ratchet is not an easy figure to do. So, as far as vehicle mode, I think they did a pretty nice job. I would have liked to not have to do those filler pieces, but then again, you don't necessarily have to do them. So, let's go ahead and get this guy transformed. First thing you're going to want to do is come to the back here. Just kind of pull these back panels apart. Just like that. Then we're going to pull this whole back section out. That's going to give us the feet. You can go ahead and rotate the exhaust pipes around. And we'll split the feet. And then right up top here, at the top of the windshield, you just rotate them around. So there you have the toe up here and the heel. And these very weird legs, but they do have nice ratchets pretty much everywhere. And he's a super stable figure. You know, as soon as we get him transformed, I'll be able to show you that a little bit better. Get these panels out of the way on the side here. And we're going to go ahead pull this out a little bit. That'll give us access to these doors on the side. Open them up. And then what you can do is you can rotate the whole waist down. That way you have a little bit more room to work with the legs. And then you're going to want to take these wheels, flip them in, and everything tabs in pretty much on the legs, which is really nice. So going to bring this down. Just like so. Bring these back leg pieces down, and these will rotate out, and they'll fill in the gap of his leg right there. And then everything does tab in. All these panels tab in pretty nicely. Do the same thing on this side. Rotate that down. Close this panel up. Make sure that tabs in. That will come to the front of the leg. That rotates all the way around, which is something I think I forgot. And then this panel, which is the sliding door panel, is going to rotate. This piece is going to slide up. That way it can fold behind it, and then you're just going to rotate this whole piece around. And then down. And that fills in the inside of the leg. And it also clips in right there. And you can see this is how this is oriented right now. It's kind of, you know, all at 90-degree angles, or pretty close to it. And then this back panel, it doesn't tab in, but it just folds to the back and covers up the rest of the back of the leg. Now we'll just do that on the other side. Flip the foot around. Bring this panel, and now on mine, when I slid this panel, the pin slid and not the actual window, because these are pretty tight. I had to loosen it and actually take this whole assembly apart and try and make the hole in this piece a little bit bigger so it didn't take the peg or the pin with it. And I was able to do it, and one thing I learned is this plastic is really strong. It seems like an odd thing. I haven't seen anyone else complain about that the pin was stuck on the panel. But that was just my experience, and I was able to fix it without breaking the figure, which was pretty amazing. Everything else seems good on this. There's no problem with the ratchets or anything like that. But there is the legs, bottom half of him. We'll just raise up the camera a little bit. That way we can get to the top half. Then on this top half, we're going to bring down the arms just like that. Get those out of the way. And we're going to come up front. Going to split the bumpers. And this is a little weird too. You have to, there's a panel in here, right there, that you have to make sure you can get the bumper over. And then there's going to be another clip right up behind the mirror. So you're kind of going to have to pull this panel back, down, and out all at the same time. There you can see the little clear piece right there that fold or pegs underneath the mirror right there. So, and that just frees up that panel. The other side's usually a little bit easier. Now that that's all freed up, you can come back here. We're going to split the arms, and then we can rotate the arms out just like that. Now that the arms are out of the way, we can lock this whole front piece. These two little tabs here will lock in right underneath that gray piece right there. And then these black pieces will form his waist. So now we have that. We have this big giant backpack looking thing. We're just going to rotate that around just like so. And then these will fold. Actually, before you even do that, you want to take these wheels and fold them out. It'll be 2 clicks, just so they're like that. Same thing on this side. 2 clicks, fold that out. Now you can rotate these up, and the doors will peg in on this clear post right there. It looks like a T. And it'll just peg in, and you have to make sure these are lined up perfect. Just like that, so it's straight. Then this little panel can rotate up, and then they'll flip around. So same thing on this side. Just line these up. You'll feel it click in. Rotate them up, and then the bumpers just wrap around. And that becomes his backpack. And all we have to do is pull out his head, just like so. We'll push this in as much as we can, and you'll see there's some ridges right along these that these black pieces will slide into. And then once that's done, you can fold in these side panels, and this will just sit down there. And this is the only thing I really don't like, is this backpack doesn't really feel like it fits in properly. It's supposed to come to the back of the head, and it almost looks like it wants to rotate in, but there's really no locking mechanism for it. And I almost think this is just a matter of preference / luck of getting it lined up properly. I really would have wished this would have tabbed in as nice as the legs did. But you can see, I think I'm pretty happy with it right now, because that panel kind of goes in behind the head, which I believe is where it's supposed to be. And you can just straighten his head out as much as you want. His head is on a ball joint, can rotate all the way around, and it's a tight ball joint too, so sometimes when you're moving it, you get that neck piece that moves instead of the actual ball joint itself. So, but yeah, that's the backpack. Like I said, it doesn't really lock in, but once you get it in place, it holds back there pretty secure. And then the only thing left we have to do are the arms. these panels are the only panels that are actually loose on the whole figure, and everyone's are like that. But once you rotate out the hands, they do kind of hold those panels in place a little bit better. And those panels, I mean, they're on the back of the arm, so they don't really bother me just because I can't see them that much. So, and then you can see his hand, his 3 bottom fingers are molded together. His top finger has 2 joints, one at the knuckle, one at the next knuckle, and then his thumb is on a ball joint. And there you have Stealth Mode Animus. And he is pretty posable. I'm really surprised with how posable he is. He has ratchets everywhere. His arms are on a soft ratchet, full 360, ratchet out, soft ratchet at the upper part of the arm. Can get a full bend. His feet, even though he does have that same problem that the Combiner Wars Deluxes have because of the detents, he needs an extra detent. You can kind of make it a little bit smaller if you want, but it kind of makes him unstable. At least I found. He's kind of really unstable right now. I don't know why that is. He wants to go backwards. Come on, stand for me. This is the first time he's actually wanted to fall over. And what you can do is you can push the feet up just a little bit. There we go. And that kind of makes him a little bit more stable. Gives him that frontal lean that he should have. And then you can just take one of the guns. I'm not going to show off both guns just because they're kind of the same. And then they have that same sort of slot system where you can put it in his hand. And there you go. And I do like it when the thumb can actually sit properly when they're holding the gun. So that's a really nice touch. Not a lot of figures do that, surprisingly. So the hand is on a swivel. The legs are kind of weird because you have this front crotch piece that will come out a little bit for the front rotation. But due to this piece on the side, it can't really go back at all. I mean, you can get it back about that much, but the thigh will not go back at all. So he will go out all the way though on the side. It's just that back, which is kind of weird. If you lift it up, you can. Yeah, he just does not have that backward motion, which I kind of surprises me. It just gets all jammed up right in here. So that's as far back as he can go. But he does get 90 degrees at the knee, which helps. And then he's got a little bit of turn here, but he also has a rotating ratchet at the knee. And then, of course, the feet, he has the ankle tilts. You can position the feet front or back. Back is why mine wasn't, or because they were to the front, which is why he wasn't stable. Just by putting them back just a little bit, he'll stand a lot more stable. And it kind of hides some of the windshield as opposed to that. So you can see the difference just by putting the foot back a little bit. And yeah, everything on his legs peg in really well. the backpack is the only thing that really needed a little bit more work in pegging in, I think. But as far as looking like, I'm going to say Ironhide because he's a black Ironhide. As far as looking like Ironhide or Ratchet, he is the best thing I think we have out in Masterpiece scale. And just for a quick size comparison, here he is with MP10. Readjust the camera here in a second. Wheeljack. And we'll put Bumblebee in there. So there you get a good shot of the whole group. And I actually said I didn't think he was going to scale nicely. Looking with all three of these guys together, I actually think he scales really nice with the masterpieces. So I'm really happy to have him in my collection. I am going to get the Masterpiece Ironhide, so I am going to compare these two and then decide if I'm going to go in on their Ironhide also. But definitely a very nice masterpiece. Very frustrating with these sprues, though. Next to impossible. I must have dropped those at least 10 times trying to trim them up. So just be mindful of that. And hope this review helped you guys. Make sure you comment down in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you get the latest reviews right away. Next review, I think we're going to do one of the Dino King figures from Fans Project, which is going to be Dino King number 3 or Dino number 3. And because those were also at TFCon, which I was fortunate enough to pick up. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.